What's up? What's up? What's up, fight fans? So we are back at it with another edition here at Round One Sports TV. I'm always your host, Edwin, where the wall fights start.
Round one.
We have an amazing show for you here today, so lock in, tune in, hit that thumbs up button, and don't forget to subscribe. So let's hop right into this topic. We got Subriel Matias, and a lot has been said about his test results, what Tim Bradley had to say. We're gonna put up what he had to say, and we're gonna dissect everything, and all the top stories here in boxing. What's up, Frontline? So don't forget to hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and let's lock in. Let's tune into this next episode. What's up, fight fans? Listen, we have a lot to discuss, a lot to break down. Um, and there's a lot of mixed feelings about this Subriel Matias false positive test, so to speak. Um, and we're gonna break down all of that. So, thank you for tuning in. And let's get right into it. Let's just get right into it. All right. In the world of boxing, many men and women enter this sport on an everyday basis, and their dream is to be number one. Is the ultimate dream to receive or to win a world title. And a lot of these boxers give a lot, but uh, a lot can be said in this sport about performance enhancement drugs. And boxing has always seemed to get in a black eye when it comes to this subject. It's a very touching subject in the sport of boxing, where that this is a sport that is led by aggression, combat, and the only way you can compete in this sport is to stand toe to toe with your opponent and to deliver punches to the head and body. So, respectfully so, um, I'm not sure if there's another sport besides UFC or any other combat sport that is more um, hands on. And boxing is something that you don't play around with, and we shouldn't. We shouldn't take lightly the men and women that are caught using performance enhancement drugs. And it is a topic that a lot of us have different views and opinions on. Now, Nestor on the Boxing Voice made a video and a short about the matter, and Tim Bradley and many others. And I heard what they had to say loud and clear. Um, you know, when men in a professional sport, men and women, test positive for a banned substance, right? Or in this case, let's say a tainted substance, right? Let's prove our case. The thing is that when they say that, why ain't these athletes testing positive for anything else in the world but what gets them banned for? Why are they testing positive for Austrian when Austrian is blackballed? It's not sold in any store. It's not prohibited in any sport. And the only way you can get it is on the black market. So why do athletes and boxers end up with this substance in their system and then claim foul play? Coincidence? Now, when people make these kind of arguments, I have to hear both sides. I would like to hear I would like you, the viewing audience, to hear Tim Bradley's breakdown of what he also feels. And then we're going to go on and discuss it, right? Okay, I'm going to put up what Tim Bradley had to say. I should have just had this up on a screen already, but here we go. Now, this is Tim Bradley. He needs no introduction. Uh he's an accomplished boxer in his own right, world champion, analyst now turned analyst, and he gives his breakdown. Now, before I play his clip, I want to share my opinion on what I feel about this man, Tim Bradley. He's very good at what he does. He was a very good fighter. Also a very good reporter, but he has his own opinions on the matter. Now, I have to take what he says into account because he's a professional boxer. He's been in and out of the ring in these locker rooms, okay? And when a man like this speaks, um, whether or not I feel he's right or wrong, let me take into account what he has to say. So let's hear what Tim Bradley had to say. Respectfully so. I'm going to give him his respect. Let's hear what he had to say. I think I have it all the way forward here. So let me bring it all the way back. We're going to
Tim doesn't Stone
hey,
Bradley. You already know the damn rest. Look. I'm just letting y'all know right now. You want to be here on this channel? You know what I'm saying? You want to look at the videos and you want to support your boy? That's cool. If you don't, hey, peace. Man, this is a channel that, hey, we attack your hearts. Yeah, we make you think. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? And I might say some stuff on this channel that you don't agree with. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But damn it, when we talking about performance enhancement drugs, man, ain't no damn excuse. You as a professional athlete, as a professional fighter, you got to take great products. You got to take quality of products, right? And if it don't have that NSF label on that damn stuff, don't take it. Yeah, and if you don't know what it is, go ahead and research it. Yeah, it's a third-party entity that tests these products and makes sure what's in the product is actually what's in the product, and making sure that athletes are taking safe products. Yeah, and he has to have that label on it. If it don't have that label, don't take it. Then you don't get no contaminated substance. Oh, Tim, it's contamination, all this bad. You don't get that. You know what I'm saying? So, because what makes me think that you're not cheating if it's in your damn system? Okay? Well, we got to take your word on it? Huh? Psst, come on. Nah, it's your responsibility as an athlete, man. You're making millions and millions of dollars. Make sure you're taking quality, right? Products, my boy. Anyways, that's my time. Tim Desert Storm Bradley, and you are.
all right. So that was his take and many takes that he has uh taken to social media and given his opinion on the matter. Now, this is Timothy Bradley, world champion, but you also have to take into account where you're getting your source from. Who does Timothy Bradley work with? Who does he work for? You see, Turkey Al Rashid, doesn't he own Ring Magazine? And doesn't he host a lot of these events that pay these gentlemen's paychecks, right? But Tim Bradley, right? Isn't he like a ESPN guy, right? So ESPN and all these other networks, are they flip flopping now, right? So at the end of the day, sometimes you got to ask yourself, who are you? What side are you on? And where are you getting your information? Although Tim Bradley is sharing his opinion on it, I have to admit that Tim Bradley is leaving out a lot. Now, in some of these training camps, these men and women that are coming up the ranks, not every training camp and not every fighter has the ability or the finances to pay for everything like nutritionists, strength and conditioning, boxing coach, and et cetera, and et cetera. Sometimes they got to go off, the whole old hard knocks way. And most of the time the boxer is doing everything. They're doing their own strength and conditioning. They're responsible for it. They're working on their boxing. They're showing up for this. They're the ones that are making the fighter. So when you get up to some of these guys that have world titles, you expect certain things. You expect all of a sudden these guys to have millions of dollars and to have all these Saul Canelo Alvarez amenities. But that can't be further from the truth. Subriel Matias was a champion, lost his title, got a belt. He doesn't have all the resources some of these great champions or all the resources some of these fortunate fighters coming up. Some of these fighters got into the right gym, had the right father, got the right connections, and was well taken care of and well looked after. But not every case is like that. Sometimes you can have a small team, a small strength and conditioning coach, nutritionist. It's kind of like your fucking cousin or something. You're paying him, but they know what they're doing. And sometimes fighters put their trust, all of their trust, in the people that they hired. And what do these people sometimes do? What people always do. Always try to get a deal or shortcut or couldn't get what they normally get. So they went and reached out and got something else. You put your trust in these people. You're focusing on the fighting. They're coming up to you. They're putting plates in front of you. Eat this, drink this. This is good for you. And to tell you the truth, as fighters, we have no idea sometimes. We're just relying on the fact on our team. And sometimes your team can take shortcuts unbeknownst to you. Who pays the price in the end? You. And it's very easily for a fighter like Tim Bradley to come out and say, if it doesn't have this label, this, that, and to make it sound very simple. So that it makes it seem like, no, you have to be cheating because the way Tim Bradley explained it, oh, this should be simple at a fighter on your level. You understand? But it doesn't always work like that. Whenever I go to see these guys in these gyms, they're in these sometimes rundown, mediocre gyms, and you see them living out of their duffel bag. There's no camera crew following them around. There's not an entourage. It's just them, their bag, and whatever they brought with them. And every now and then in a gym, after hours of sparring, fighters, I've seen this myself, have fall back and say, hey, you got water in that bottle? Let me get that. And what? I know it's the fighter's responsibility in the end. So who's at fault? Where's the breakdown? Where's the negligence? And can you remember everything? Not to eat everything, drink everything, because now you're here? Had you ever had putting your faith in someone? You're on probation. You go call that one cousin. You think it's straight in the air and an arrow. Hey, piss in the bottle for me. I got to go do a piss test, right? And all of a sudden you locked up. You call him back on a collect call. Talk about, yo, that urine was dirty, homeboy. Yo, right? Sometimes you put your faith in people. Subriel Matias, honestly, from what I know of the man, I know him personally. I've met him. I've been to multiple of his fights. He never struck me as the type of guy that would take a performance enhancement drug. Would have ever told me about his physique, his style, his size, anything. that, man, that guy was juicing. I've never thought that. When these allegations came out, we have to follow the crumb trail. You have to do your due diligence. Although there's a part of me, a big part of me, that doesn't want this to be true, there's another part of me that will do his due diligence to find out the truth. And in this case, there are a lot of things on social media that are going back and forth. There's a lot of windows and moments in this particular case that are not making sense. When Mauricio Suleiman, the WBC president, came out and congratulated Subriel Matias and Dalton Smith for being tested negative, I believe that that was the same test he tested positive for. People are thinking, just like thinking that those were separate tests. But unfortunately, I think that they weren't. What happened in this case was Mauricio Suleiman saw that the test levels were under to report. So there was no foul play. So he congratulated them for testing negative. Then someone caught wind of this and they decided to use it in a situation, I believe, that would have favored who else? There's only two people in this equation, Subriel Matias and Dalton Smith. So if it's not favoring Subriel Matias, who else is it? And then who's backing him? Just follow the breadcrumbs, right? Then it starts to paint a different picture, somewhat of a sinister one, where you start to sit back and even question the very story that broke. I've reported this. Same situation, Ryan Garcia, the WBC, New York City, Ostream, and Matchroom. Same things. So now the only thing that changed were the fighter's name. Subriel Matias, New York City, the WBC, Ostream, Matchroom. So you start to like question this from the outside. And although Subriel Matias's results were under the limit to report, what does that mean? Does that mean his innocence? Does it mean he's guilty? What exactly does that mean? Right? Okay. Here's the thing. Just like you cannot rule out the possibility that he is cheating, that he was cycling off something, that they caught him when he was at his lowest. Just like you can't rule that possibility out, that why ain't these fighters testing for, I don't know, caffeine or testing positive for licorice? Why is it got to be a banned substance? Just like you can't rule that possibility out, you cannot rule out the possibility that he got it from a contaminated substance. You can't rule out that possibility either. See, because more than likely, the reason why it got in his system, because these athletes that go to GMC to buy their own little supplements, they're going to sports stores. They're obviously in a sport. So they're always involved in snack products that will boost this, that, vitamins. They are athletes, aren't they? And in these places that they sell these so-called regulated drugs, so that the athlete can take them because they're okay to take. Aren't these places the same places where you can buy these other drugs? And when you order them in the factory, when they clean out the cylinder and they're starting another product, who's to say they weren't doing Ostring that week, and then the next batch they did something else and contaminated that batch? Who's checking on them? So if Ramiro, that UFC fighter, right, got a GMC product, won the lawsuit, and it was a banned substance, so you can't rule that out. You can't rule out that, like the possibility. Why are these guys testing for that? They're in the same places that they're buying these other athlete vitamins, snack and shit and what have you, whatever you're taking. You know, you get Evergreen or something for cutting weight, and you want something else to give you energy, stamina, whatever you want to look up, they'll have. But when you quickly say, yeah, why are these guys testing? Because they are in the same circles. They're kind of buying from the same stores. You know, you go in, give the guy behind the counter the nod. He knows. He gives you the stuff underneath the counter. You feel me? Or you got his phone number and you meet him after work behind the store type shit. So they do, for as easily it is to say that, you know, check your supplements, do this, do that. Not everybody has the financial backing to buy everything they would like to take. Sometimes people go to the store and this product has never failed them. But this time, they tainted the substance. The guy didn't clean the cylinders correctly. And is that your fault? Should you be prosecuted if in case you did get a tainted substance? So tell me, how do you prove your innocence? How do you sleep at night? Knowing every day people are saying more and more about you, when you know in your heart to heart, you have never cheated. Never. So how do you get out of this situation? And how do you declare your innocence? When there are people online saying you are responsible for what you put in your body. And if that's being the case, we have to look at the evidence. We can't look at what if. So let's do exactly that. Even if you say, what if he was cycling off? What if he took Ostrin? What if he's innocent? What if it was a tainted substance? Whatever your if is, we got to consider the facts. And the facts are, he tested positive for 0.085. If that's under the limit of them reporting it as you doping, so we got to take the evidence. What does that tell you? You had no benefit. If that amount is not enough to report you as a cheater, that means that the doping agency and all the scientists declared anything under this, there's no, you have a zero benefit. There is a reason why they have 0.1 as their threshold. There's a reason. There's a reason why underneath that, they don't report. So you got to ask yourself, was he under? Yes. Was that above reporting or considered him a cheater? No. Why? Who determined this? The drug experts. They know more about this than you and I. And if under 0.1 is not an illegal, what are we talking about then here? If the agency themselves said that. So the what if, the if that I'm talking about, no matter what way you view it, the if is the same. You must only convict them for what you know, the evidence. And if the evidence shows that was not an amount to report, then he had no benefit. It can't be a situation where you say just cuz. There has to be something that finds you guilty. They're not just going to kick open your door because once upon a time you was a jewelry thief and they said, "We have a feeling you're going to steal the Queen Elizabeth's jewels. We just think it. Cuz you were a jewelry thief once upon a time, so boop, you're going to jail." We look, just because you had some, you have to account for what the professionals deem you as doping. And if you didn't even get to that amount, doesn't some red flags go off? Have you ever been hated on? Have you ever been set up? Have you ever been talked about? Has anybody ever made up something about you? Can you honestly say, was it true? Were you guilty? Did you want to prove your innocence? And did this person piss you off because they kept saying nonsense about you? So at what point can you prove your innocence? And will everybody believe you? Unfortunately, no. Not everybody will believe you. But all I can do is, here at Round One Sports Talk, the only thing I can go by is the evidence, the facts. That's it. We actually should not have even been talking about this. There was someone that leaked this story, that paid some money just to get this out. The damage is done. If if you ask me, the damage is done. I I feel like that in this situation right here with Subriel Matias and the WADA, New York Boxing Athletic Committee, the WBC, Fresh Production, and Matchroom, I think that they've all, you know, uh, in their own right, all of them have had their own views and points on this story and situation. I've told you that if he was stripped, I felt that the right course of action would have been to elevate Isa Pitbull Cruz. So in doing this smear campaign to Subriel Matias, I think that they might have not thought everything through. But I believe that the message was sent. I think that Subriel Matias now is under a light, and it's messed up in a way because You know, he was in a boxing match where someone lost their life. That's not something to play around with. I don't care what nationality you are. If you enter a boxing match with my son and you take my son's life, and I hear years later that you're accused of using PEs or Ostrine, whatever it is, do you actually think, as a father, that's not going to awaken questions? And do you think that on that night that there wasn't an investigation launched? Do you think that Mad Match Durichek's family said, okay, we're okay with him just saying that he's good? You really believe that? So you can just do that anywhere and they won't? No. There was an investigation launched after such a tragedy would happen in the ring. So these accusations about Subriel Matias are real down low, nasty, and dirty. This kind of smear campaign and what Tim Bradley is saying, and he was in a competition with a guy that lost his life. Tim Bradley, you should know better than anyone that they take your urine sample and your blood sample after a title fight or a title eliminator fight when you're fighting at that level. And let me alert the public, out of Subriel Matias' entire boxing career, he has never tested positive for anything. So just like you can try to rule in foul play, you can't rule out contamination. There is a possibility you yourself can get contaminated with a substance or a drug you do not take. The problem is that in the everyday life, we're not being tested. You have no idea how many things you bought, weight gainer you bought from a freaking store that you've been taking for weeks or months. Who the hell is testing you? Imagine you got up tomorrow and said, hey, let me go get tested. And they said to you, you're dirty. You pop for Ostrine. How would you feel? How would you feel? And how would you explain yourself? So when they say, oh, it's a coincidence that these guys are getting tested and popping positive for the substance, yeah, rightfully so. They're being tested. They're actually being tested for you and me. Because me and you, we're not tested every day. For all I know, everything I've been taking is a fucking banned substance. Not unless I would be tested would I ever know what exactly I'm taking. I'm just going into the GMC and I'm putting my confidence in the fact that what they say is on that label is actually in that bottle. And that they did their due diligence in that warehouse out there in fucking Tibet or something, China. Rats running around everywhere. There's no white coats or anything. They're working in their flip flops and wife beaters and shit. Just stirring a pot with a wooden spoon that they stir every pot with, type shit. I don't know if their labs are FEA, whatever, approved, and you never know. I just walk into the store. I see what it says on the product. I ask the guy. He says, hey, this is the best stuff to take. And I buy it. And I buy it. And lo and behold, I can't explain to you guys the recall list on just products from just GMC. Never mind any other sports athletic store, you know, fucking Tim's athletic supplements. Never mind any of those other places. I'm just talking about the GMC products at one time. The recall list on the shit and they shelf. Yo, even Walmart. The other day I was in Walmart and I was looking for a supplement that was it was referred to me by my brother-in-law. He said, "Hey, if you're ever in Walmart, you see this bottle, pick this shit up." So I'm in Walmart and I'm looking for I can't find it. So I asked the lady, I'm like, "Yo, do you guys got this in stock?" They say, "Yeah, we stopped selling that." And I said, "You stopped? Why?" And she says, "Yeah, there's a list of stuff, of products." Yo, there was like 25 freaking, and I was looking at it and I was like, and this is in Walmart. I swear to God, look it up. Look it up. And them products were banned. So, you know, a lot of these things we take in every day on an everyday basis, we're basically just trusting in the fact that this is what they say it is. In actuality, we have no idea, no clue. Yo, for all I know, I'll be like, yo, Carlos, 721. Go test. And honestly, they'd be like, this motherfucker's on string fetting me, met the thing, everything a thing. And everything. He's like, He's like, yo, all I've been taking is this weight gainer. You know what I'm saying? Yo, Bam Bam Boogie, you know what I'm saying? He got string to the gills right now. He's like, all I've been taking is this pre-workout. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know. We don't know. We're not sure. So, what I'm trying to express here is there human error? Is there a such thing as human error? Right? And if you say yes, is there a chain where human error can cause another human to pay for their mistake? Is there a possibility of that? Right? So if these possibilities exist, just like you can make accusations to say, no, he's guilty because he has some in him. Okay. All right. I hear you. But there's just because you say that, that's not the end all of everything. All of a sudden, your brain stopped working. You came up to a conclusion and no one can change your mind. No, just like you're giving that opinion, you have to take in account other methods and other ways. Could this be a possibility as well? You see? People going into this local grocery store and are lied to with, yo, listen, I mean, and this is just like normal shit, right? Okay. Yo, Carlos. Yeah, yeah. Hey, you're buffed. Right? Yo, I get it. Hold on, let me read a couple. You can pick that stuff up at your local. Yeah, any like there's a lot of products you could just pick up around the corner. There's no telling that that product is not tainted. You know, people cut corners, and that's what I talk about, human error. Could the guys back at the lab be like, pressed for time? Shit, fucking Howard here. We had to get out 100 units yesterday, and you fucked around and called off sick because you went to the Green Bay Packer game. I saw you on the Chumbotron, Howard, right? So now we got a double order today. Let's speed things up. You know, human error. Does it exist? And could someone else pay the price for your mistake? Here they go down to GMC buying the same vitamins they've been buying for 5 years. Never tested positive for that vitamin ever. And here goes this asshole back at the freaking lab trying to, get out early. He's backed up on 100 units. Run the Ostrine. Run it. Hey, we got to clean out the cylinders. We don't got time. We press for time. Just clean that. Look, wipe it with your hand. Now pour everything in. Let's go. We can't rule out these possibilities because we came to a conclusion. Up, you had in your system, guilty. You should be responsible. That's easy to say. But in the heat of the moment, you're in a gym, you're sparring, 12 rounds, 6 rounds on the bag, 7 rounds on the speed bag, 3-4 rounds jumping rope. You're exhausted. You're tired. You look to the side, there's a black water bottle. Your water bottle's black. You pick it up. Oh shit, this is not my water bottle. This is fucking George's. Hey, fuck, George, I drank your water bottle. It don't matter. Boom. Well, guess what? George was on that shit. And he had it where? In his water bottle. Hey, you should be held responsible. Because in a moment of fatigue, not being aware, lapse of judgment, being safe in your environment, recording what you learned, sweat dripping down, and in a moment that have you ever been caught in a moment where someone says something to you or did something to you that it caught you in that moment? Got me, right? And they caught you slipping. You picked up that water bottle, caught you slipping, man, right? But is that fair? Is that right to say you're a cheater? Would you feel that way? Are you a cheater? Or would you try to prove your innocence? Is that right? But there is a case where these guys are cheating. There are possibilities where these guys were coming off of something. I also can't take that out of the equation. I also can't play stupid here and report with my heart. I'm a Puerto Rican man. This is a Puerto Rican fighter. It would seem so, wouldn't it? But nah. At the end of the day, I need the truth. I gotta know in my heart's a heart who I consider to be one of the baddest motherfuckers on this planet. Subriel Matias, you got to prove to me that you're on the up and up. Because it's gonna crush me if you don't. So I gotta hold you to even a higher standard than I hold these other guys. You represent our country, bro. Don't fuck around with our flag. If it is what it is, let's get this done and over with. If you're going to be the first, and that's where your name's going to go, but then let's get this shit popping right now. But if it's not, and this has all been what I think it is, because I only can do one thing. I can only follow the evidence. And the evidence says, clear as day, you're not even over the threshold. So what am I going to do? Just because of my amusement? Just because I want to prove that I'm right? I'm going to argue what you came out under the threshold, and I'm going to make that the new threshold. Just for argument's sake. Nah. Let me tell you something right now. I've always said this. If you didn't catch me, then how the fuck did you say I did it? Just because you can? What did Denzel say in Training Day? It's not what you know, it's what you can prove. What you think? My troops are going to help you? Smiley? Huh? You think they're going to help you? It's not what you know, it's what you can prove. And if you can't prove me being over the legal limit, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? Yo, man, listen. You can't say I stole the fucking crown jewels if you never caught me with the crown jewels. I could be the best thief in the world, but you never bagged me with them. Yep, they got stolen. Yep, you raided my house. Did you find anything? No. Then get the hell out. Apparently, I don't got them. No, you know what? You're guilty. No, just because you're guilty. 100,000 years. How's that possible? You're gonna have to find me guilt. You gotta catch me. Rightfully so. You're gonna have to catch me. You see? And in this situation, it's not even about getting caught. Because he didn't get caught. It's about arguing the fact that he was never over. That's what we're arguing. Not that even there was a crime committed. See, in my case, the jewels got stolen. They kicked open my door because they're missing. But in Subriel's case, no crime was committed. There was no crime committed. He never even got to the jewel. Like, you didn't break the threshold. There was no crime committed. Like I said, what they're trying to do is kick open your front door and accuse you of stealing them when they're still there. That's what they're kind of doing with Subriel. They're trying to force the fact you're doping. It has to be because you're coming off of something or this, that, and the third. Right? And then I'm like, okay, well then where's your evidence? Okay, let's quickly look up Subriel Matias's doping record throughout all his fights. Let's quickly go. That's what it's going to make me do. And then when you go do that, all this is just a bunch of fucking negative. Liam Paro, negative. And that's not what I see here. Like, for instance, if you were to say tomorrow, Gerald Miller woke up and tested positive, you were to go back in his career, there would be evidence. Right? And how quick that people come out, right, without any evidence, right, and say, what do they say? What they say about Subriel? His career is tarnished. His wins, they're all tarnished. His belts tarnished. And I'm like, how the hell could you say that? When Saul Canelo Alvarez is right there. Is any of his records or belts tarnished? I just want to know. How about Tyson Fury? What about his claim to being the best heavyweight champion in the world? Is that tarnished? There's a lot of champions. What about Roy Jones's career? What about Shane Mosley? What about any of these fighters that ever tested? Is their career, you can say that Saul is not going to be argued among the greatest Mexican champions? Is that what you're going to say to me? He's not in the conversation anymore. Since that time he tested positive for what? Oh shit, Austrian. So Saul is, nothing he did is no good. Because apparently, for what you guys are saying, when he won all those belts, he was on the stuff. So if you're going to say it about one guy, you got to say it about them all. Right? And the crazy thing is that between Saul and Subriel, the one thing that still remains different between the two, you actually got a suspension. They heard your case. They heard everything, all your excuses, and throughout everything you said and your lawyer said, they still handed out an 18-month suspension. There's the difference. Until they do that with Subriel, nah, he ain't going in that book. He's not going in that book. The problem is you were over the threshold and he's under. So the guy that's under, oh, his career is over. Everything he's done is tarnished. The guy that's under, his belts are no good. But the guy that's over, that the WBC came in and changed the law, the requirement amount in that state they were fighting in, and they raised it just for Saul, that guy's career is okay. There's nothing to see here, people. He's the greatest Mexican that ever lived. Keep going. Everything he did was on the up and up. All his belts are official. Don't mess with Saul. Is this a double standard? What's going on here? The guy that gets found guilty, that the levels were over, that had to prove his innocence, that was found guilty, he's okay. The guy that's under, that's getting scrutiny, that no sanction has been given or no fines, his career's over. Is that what they're trying to tell you? Or is that what you're believing? Careful where you get your information. Careful. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button for me. Do me a favor, if you like the content, hit the thumbs up. I'm not here to try to sell you on anything about what's right or wrong. I'm still in the position where I'm willing to hear the facts. And I'm not blind. I'm not blind to the fact that there's a possibility here. I'm not blind to the fact that athletes do these kinds of things every day. No, I'm not. So, with that being said, I'm not here to try to persuade anybody's view. What I'm here to do is to bring the facts and to bring all points of view so that you can see every angle. You make judgment for yourself. You're a grown up, right? You can make decisions and choices on your own. So that's what I'm doing. I'm bringing everything, different viewpoints, different angles, possibilities. And I haven't ruled out, I don't think, any. What I've shared with you tonight is the possibility that he could be dirty, there could be foul play, and there could be also a possibility that he is not, that he is innocent, and that this is a contaminated substance. It's just both viewpoints, both explanations. And I ask you, as a person, as a human, all I ask is this. If ever you were in a situation where they called you a cheater or a positive test, and you knew honestly in your hearts of hearts you were innocent, and it was up to you to prove your innocence, go. So far, Subriel Matias and his team have been real transparent with everything and all the requests they have asked. He has given him their supplements. He has told them what he ate, everything, and he reported all this in. And in the supplements that he reported in is where they found their finding. So he was on the up and up. It's not like Ryan Garcia's case where they could never find where it came from. So through his transparency and Subriel Matias, his team cooperating with everything that's been going on, it doesn't give me or create alarms where they're like, no, this didn't match, or this is not where it came from, and this. There has been no reports of that. So it must be, for me anyway, that he is everything that he is, they're okay with. Everything that he has given to them, all the questions he has answered. He's been more than transparent throughout this whole situation. Him and his team, Fresh Production. So it doesn't strike me from a person that's trying to hide anything, when in fact his level wasn't even over the threshold. So what are you hiding? So you can't rule out speculation. The possibility. Where are you coming off? What are you doing? There's a certain level of testing, and I want you to understand this, right? That when they test sample A, sample B, right? Usually sample A is the surface. It's like a surface test. They catch the majority of what's out there. If you want a more thorough test on your sample, well, then go to the blood. Go to sample B. Go to blood. The thing with blood is that blood can give you a history. And I still think that blood can give you up to 1 or 2 years of history of what's in your blood. Even if you're cycling off of something, these labs, they're smart. They know what chemicals break down in the human body over a period of time. They know what they're looking for. This ain't no rinky dink doping agency. These are the top doping agencies in the world. So when they're running these tests, they know what they're looking for. Right? And so, and another thing I wanted to clear up too is the WADA 360, 24/7, 365-day testing. What does that mean? There are multiple fighters that are on this testing. The reason why Devin Haney pressured Brian Norman Jr. to get on the 24/7, 365 VADA testing, right? VADA testing, right? The reason why they did that is because VADA is not a doping testing agency that works with boxing. You heard that correctly. They don't test boxers. They never have. VADA is a outside doping agency you can hire to test you that has been certified and stamped throughout multiple sports throughout the world, that when you test with them, they're official. They've been doing this for so long that their doping agency is top notch. So in order for you to get tested by them, you would have to enter into their testing pool. That is a separate entity with boxing. VADA doesn't test boxers. They don't work in the sport of boxing. They never have. The only way you could get tested by them is when the boxing or the promoters hire them to test their fighters. They're just a doping agency that tests for the Olympics, whatever. They're just a hired gun. So when you want to know why are our fighters not on it, the 24/7, 365 WADA testing, why ain't some boxers on it? Because some boxers feel like you're not a part of boxing. You're not a doping agency that regulates us. The WBC, the IBF, the WBA, the WBO, and they hire whoever they want to test us. We answer to them. We don't answer to VADA. VADA don't got nothing to do with boxing. Nothing. But the fact that you can hire them to stamp your name as a clean boxer. If you are on VADA and they're testing you and you're going on their registry, it kind of says you're a clean athlete because we're the best doping agency in the world. So by having our stamp of approval, it means you're on the up and up. But you got to hire them and pay for that yourself. Not all these athletes got that kind of money. So because they're not registered to the VADA 24/7, 365 testing, now they're a cheater? No, they're still being tested by whatever doping agency, the WBC, the IBF, the WBA, and the WBO, if you have their belts or fighting in whatever boxing promoter hired to test. Boxing is the Wild Wild West. It is, in a way. It kind of is. But I just want to clarify some things so that you know that in actuality, VADA don't got nothing to do with boxing. And I mean nothing. Unless you hire them, they can't never test you. It's not like they can walk in boxing right now and say, you, get against the wall. We're testing you. Hell no, they can't do that. No fucking way. Man, I'll tell that dude with the VADA badge, get the fuck, man, pack that shit up. Who the hell sent you? I don't know who the hell you are. I don't gotta submit shit. I ain't got no fight scheduled. I ain't fighting for no world title. And you just walked in the gym and said, hey, you, yeah, right. Yeah, right. You can shove that badge right up your fucking ass. I ain't giving you shit. And you can't find me guilty for nothing because I'm not signed up to your little program. There's nothing you can do to me. Unless I have a fight and I signed the contract and that doping agency on the contract that's going to pay me a visit, I got to answer to them. Yes, I do. Oh, yes, you do. Fuck around and don't answer to them. You're asked out. The only people I got to answer are to the people that they assigned to me. The agency they assigned. by the city. New York Boxing Athletics Committee had doping agency that they signed, that they sent to my gym. I got a piss for that guy. You better believe I do. But for anybody else, some Vada dude comes out of left field and says, hey, guess what? Yeah, right. Yeah, right. I ain't got to submit shit to that dude. Not now, not never, not and at any point. But when you submit to their program, you have to obey by it. And once, like Anthony Joshua, he's on VADA testing. Richard Hitchison, he's on it. Teofimo Lopez has been on it. And these are guys under the 365 testing. Devin Haney, Brian Norman Jr., they're on it. And when you go like today, like I should have it up. I was just looking at this today of all the men and women that are on it. I just want to let you know that they are on it because they want their stamp of approval. It's a good stamp because they're the best doping agency in the world. There's like two of them, VADA and WADA, right? So with having their stamp saying, nope, this is a clean guy, you can probably say, yeah, like that's the highest you can get, right? So yeah. And then as fans and people, trainers, fathers, mothers, fighters, we feel that you should be fucking regulating this boxing shit a bit more than what you guys are doing. You really should. Lock this shit down, bro. Like, you should be on these guys. I mean, this is a combat sport. We're taking punches to the face here. Fuck that, bro. You want a performance enhancement drug, man. Nah, man. I'm not with no kind of cheating on no level. Beat me on the up and up. We should police this shit, bro. We need better doping agencies. We need all these guys to be held accountable, man. Fuck that, bro. I don't give a fuck what nationality you are. You're a cheater. You're a goddamn cheater, man. That's it. I don't care. And we need to police this shit. You know? Um, I don't know if I don't think boxing can make a contract with VADA. I don't that's impossible to do. Because the only reason why the UFC had a contract with WADA is because their only top promoter guy, they own like 98% of all the fighters. So it's easy to regulate it when you had control of 98%. You just put them all under one doping. But in boxing, the promoters own like 2% each. 2%. Like, you know how many boxing promoters there are in the world? How many small time boxing promoters? The ones underneath and just the big ones we talk about? You can't get one boxing. No one owns the rights to all the boxers. There's no way you can govern it. What entity in boxing is there that you can say, we make the rules and we say this rule for everything? If you don't even have that in refereeing and judging, you can't even control that with the referees and the judges. You can't even get them to obey by the same rules. So how are you going to get everybody under the same doping? How could you police this? You would literally need to make a police station in boxing that somebody governs and says, this is the law. You must all obey by it. It was like they made a rule structure. It was mediocre at best. And every year they add something or take something off, but never definitive. Because if you fight in Spain and you fight in Japan, the rules are not the same. So you can't even govern that. There has to be a police station in boxing. There has to be something that somebody sets the law. You guys all got to obey by this. I don't care how many there are of you. You got to play by these guidelines. And you guys all must be tested. You know? You just can't go to another country and because you're in that other country, they don't test for steroids. You can't be in the UK being a heavyweight champion your entire career and never testing for any bad substance, but look like a fucking Adonis. And the minute you come to United States and fight in New York City, you get knocked out. It has to be the same everywhere. We got to protect these fighters. We have to. Because you never know who's cheating. You never know. For all I know, you know, my greatest fighter was a cheater the entire time. He just never got caught. You know, who am I to say? So, but if we police this shit, I think it would discourage other fighters coming up to cheat. Because let's not forget what comes with cheating. You know, you might sit there and think, oh, yeah, they're all on it. Everybody's cheating, just steroids, just flowing in boxing gyms everywhere. Everybody's just on the stuff. Right? That would be a real misconstrued way of thinking. Because to the man or woman out there that's thinking about using a performance enhancement drug, let's just think about what comes along with that. If you're ever caught, your family name is shamed. Your career tainted. Everything you did questioned. You're not going to the Hall of Fame. You tested positive. So your life work, everything it took you a lifetime to achieve, in a moment of desperation or wanting to get an edge, you took something. You really think everybody's just lining up in the gym? Yeah, give me the Austrian, give me the I want to be the next cheater. I want my name in that list forever. You think everybody in these gyms are on it like they say? You think everybody's taking a chance? Till the day they come knocking on your door. Hey, New York Boxing Athletic Committee sent us. You got to schedule a match, don't you? We're the guys that test you. How you doing? It's not, it's just because it's easy to think it and to speak it doesn't make it easy for every man and woman in a gym to say, yeah, sign me up. Give me that Austrian. That's what I've been looking for. Nah. A drug's a drug. If you ain't out there sniffing coke, shooting dope, and smoking methamphetamines, what makes you think you're just going to come to a gym and turn into a druggie? Yeah, let me get those drugs. I'm going to take those P's or those steroids. They're still drugs. Not everybody's signing up to take drugs. Yeah, this is a steroid. It gets you big as hell. It just shrinks your balls. That's made by the devil. Right? I don't want that shit. So don't sit there and tell me that all boxers in every fucking boxing gym are all on this shit. Some people have morals. Just because you can say something doesn't make it true. A lot of these guys are still young enough to perform well without anything. And yeah, there are cases that guys do use it. And it kind of like fucks it up for the guy that's doing it legit. And it makes him look in and fall under a category you really don't know nothing about. And you really don't have any evidence or any scientific proof that this is actually so. You just came to your own conclusion. Oh, I think everybody's on it. Has to be. I don't see it that way. I don't think everybody's signing up to be a cheater. I don't think everybody's lining up in line to take the opportunity to get caught. What does that do for you? What does it do for that gold medalist, that track star, that the young American that got caught? Or Armstrong there. What did it do for all the cheaters in the world? It ruined them. They took away their gold medals. They shamed them. For the rest of their lives, your name is going to be cemented with that. Yeah, sign me right up for that. I want to be the next cheater. Bullshit. Bullshit. There are a lot of these boxers on the up and up. Don't allow these other people and what they think and feel. They're all on it. No, they're not. No, they're not. There are a few bad apples and a few cheaters, but you should not all be found guilty or looked upon or shunned upon because of what a few rotten apples did. And my sport will not be looked down upon as a cheating sport. Our men and women fight on the up and up. And until you can prove that, then you have no right to call these men and women, these champions and these warriors and these fighters and everybody coming up the ranks a cheater. You have no proof of that. What you got is a few rotten apples among the bunch, and boxing is getting a black eye because of it. And to the men and women that have gotten tainted substance, and you were never be careful, protect yourself, learn from these situations, because this could be you next. Tighten up your circle. Don't drink out of that water bottle. Check your supplements. Don't laggy gag. Don't allow this story to go right over your head. Learn from it. Protect yourselves as fighters. Because this is your career. This is what you worked for your entire life. Let me tell you something. You could talk shit about me. Shit, you could talk about my mama. You could talk about all that. But don't talk about my body of work. What it's taken me a lifetime to achieve. Whether or not I got to that pinnacle or not, I don't give a fuck. I dedicated my life to this. And for you at the end of the day, call me a cheater because of a tainted substance when I never was a cheater. That would be heartbreaking to me. I know in my heart to heart, I never cheated. So in order to avoid situations like this, you got to protect yourself. You got to really look after what you're taking. And I get it. You hire these nutritionists and you hire these people to cook your food and you hire this person to look after what you're putting in your body. And your trust and your faith is all on these people. What if they make a mistake? What if today they go to the store and the usual that's on the shelf, they sold out of? What does he buy? The store brand. Let me get this. It's okay. It's basically the same shit. That one was tainted. Are you a cheater? Should be you be looked at one? Should there be an investigation? You put your trust in these people. They let you down. Human error. Is it a possibility? That's all I'm saying, man. They just can't, we can't rule out the possibility that he is. You can't rule out the possibility that he isn't. And that this is always a story that was just blown out of proportion. We can't rule out these possibilities. So because I can't do so, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. I'm at the facts. Facts is he was never over the threshold. So what are we reporting? And those are just the facts. If they didn't catch you with said jewel in your pocket, then what did I do? But there is a possibility that you could have taken and passed it off. You know what I mean? And that's what they're trying to sell you. That right there is exactly what they're trying to sell you. The possibility that he is dirty, that he was cycling off. And that, my friend, is where I believe their smear campaign worked. It fucking worked. And although I think that this fight will conclude, Dalton Smith and Subriel Matias will fight on schedule. I think so. Uh, the damage was done. Yeah. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens and what happens from here. We have a lot of great boxing. We're gonna end up this December. You know, we have Naoya Inoue fighting December 27th, I believe, against Alan David Picasso. I'm gonna be tuning in for that fight. There's a lot more boxing before we close up the year, and we have a lot of boxing starting the year. As usual, here at Round One Sports Talk, every year at the first of the year, I give my prediction of how the year is gonna play out. I pick a particular topic and I kind of use that for the year. Tune in here at Round One Sports Talk when I make my prediction for the 2026 year. And what I think and who I think is going to be one of the top fighters and who I think is probably going to be the worst. I don't know which way I'll go with it. But um, I always look for a better year in boxing. I'm always anxious for the next year, the what if, and who is going to be the next star of that year. Who's going to really be the fighter of the year? Who's going to get the knockout of the year? Uh, you know, um, and there's a lot of awards and a lot of things throughout the year when I watch. And, sometimes you watch in the beginning of the year a stellar knockout or something, and you're like, yeah, that's going to be on the ballot for knockout of the year. And as we go through the year, we watch all these awesome and fights, and we're like counting them down. And, that's what I live for. I live for great matches, great fights, the next young prospects turning contenders. You got your Vargases, Emilio, the El General fighter like that, to watch them get into their next phase in their career. Watch Abdullah Mason make his first title defense. I want to see more of Camille Moten. I don't know what's going on with that young man, but that's a talented fighter right there. I want to see more of Keith Cologne. That's a young fighter right there, a young talent right there. I want to see more of with the knockout streak that young man is on. It's like every fight I see him and he's knocking somebody out. So I want to see more of the top prospects and contenders coming up. So yeah, fight fans. I'm intrigued, but I hope I shed some light on this situation, and I hope I talked about the possibilities, um, you know, and like I say here at Round One Sports Talk, I'm not here to change your mind. I'm not a used car salesman. I'm not trying to sell it to you. What I'm trying to do is give you different points of view, and you, as a viewer, you take everything into account. You make your decision. And I hope you make the right decision at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, man, these are people's fathers, husbands, brothers, and your name can, it means a lot. It means a lot. And your innocence even means that much more. So, fight fans, I'm on to the next one after this one here at Round One Sports Talk. You guys have been amazing. Thank you for participating in all your comments in the chat. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. And like always, I'm on to the next one after this one here at Round One Sports Talk. You guys have been the best.